What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bossin with Ballard podcast, where we give out inspiration, motivation, and empowerment to our urban communities. And I'm your host, Roderick Ballard. In today's topic, I want to speak on fatherhood. Fatherhood is key in all neighborhoods. It's key across America. And I feel it is great to speak on fatherhood, definitely in our urban communities, definitely when it's a negative stigma towards us fathers and how we're not doing what we're supposed to do. So I definitely want to speak on that. Definitely want to get some game to inspire fathers that's already doing what they're supposed to and fathers that need to really get on their game because it's a lack of us out here that's want to lead and be an influencer to our community and our own household. But before we get into the big topic of today, of fatherhood, I want to give a shout out to all my supporters that's been supporting me this far. Thank you. But also, if you want to support me as well, please follow the YouTube, Facebook, and me on all other platforms of podcasting. My podcast is on all platforms now. All I need you to do is share with a friend, comment under the post. If you got any feedback, if you feel it's great advice, please comment under the post of wherever you're listening at. It'd be greatly appreciated. Everything is free. And also just wanted to give you some updates on the podcast. It's been going pretty smoothly. I've been able to understand some things that's been going on. Did my first 5 episodes within the first weekend that y'all been watching. So it's been great to get the great feedback. But I also wanted to let y'all know that I'm definitely bringing hosts, some more co-host people up here as far as being able to speak amongst the podcast and be able to drop some good game, definitely within the financial field, trucking, whatever you can name it, to be able to give you some inspiration and information on what's going on in life that can really help you. Definitely when it comes down to even mental therapy, being able to do that, being able to speak to someone, which I've spoke on before, being able to do that, being able to tackle these things in life, which is called adversity, being able to tackle those challenges. So that's very key. And also, I just wanted to let you know I have a few changes going on within the podcast. The episode's still coming out Tuesday and Thursday, but I also want to do a Q&A session as far as feedback on the podcast about twice a month. So I'm going to try to do it every second Monday. So hopefully I'll be able to get everybody on and be able to get feedback. And also, I just wanted to let everybody know that go follow the Patreon page. I'm going to be dropping early content up there on the page. It's going to be a few tiers where you'll be able to get great information as well. Did a few ebooks, basically podcasting one-on-one to be able to, if you want to get your podcast going. Also got an ebook for some of the gamers out there and for some of the family members that's out there and kids and other parents that have kids that's playing the gaming one-on-one as well. So that can be able to help them. And I also have as far as financial literacy that'll be able to help you. That'll be on a Patreon very soon. Definitely stay tuned for all of that. And also, I have a merch that's coming amongst the podcast, and it's going to be other things that's incorporated within the merch as well. So just stay tuned for all of that. And let's just really get into this topic of fatherhood is very key. It's very key to what's been going on in our society, definitely in our urban communities. Fatherhood is not looked at as the greatest thing. It's been like a recycled thing that's been going on consistently for generation after generation and after generation. You got some of the fathers that's willing to work in our urban neighborhoods, that's willing to work and provide the best way he can. And then we have some out here with the lack of knowledge and necessarily the lack of co-parenting as well that goes on within our community. I feel that as a father, you should be a leader, you should be a provider, you should be able to influence not just your home, the neighborhood, your community, being able to guide kids and also being able to guide different people, not just your kids or your job, being able to do different things. I feel that in urban neighborhoods, how can I say, in urban neighborhoods, we're looked at as a black male, you're looked at as you're gonna have this baby and you're going to walk right out of someone's life, which statistically that's high when you look at it. But that's why I'm here to be able to try to give you some game on understanding that fatherhood has changed. It's changed. It's definitely changed from the mid-migration to now 2024. It's been a different insight on how fatherhood is, definitely with the unique changes far as in our urban neighborhoods. You got to really got to address the challenges that men have faced over time with that. Really looking at the studies, everything's just statistically high with that. Having unemployment has been a big thing in our urban communities, as far as not with just fathers, women as well, not being able to get the best of jobs. Where I'm from, some people are not able to get the best of jobs, or they work at a plant, a factory, or they say they work in the same job for 20 to the odd years and probably got 2 or 3 raises within them working the 20 to 30 years at the same place, which is nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you got to look for the growth to be able to elevate your family. And sometimes it may be with the change or just having the necessary resources, men or women. Also understanding the, how can you say, the systematic issues as far as the racial discrimination, that's been a big part within our community, not being able to get the proper treatment to get the job that we necessarily need. I feel that's real big and play a big part in our community. Just understanding that, being able to navigate. I feel our kind has been able to navigate and elevate in different ways. I feel that we can have the cement and will find a way to get through that cement. That's why I say, like, just understanding those things that's going on and just understanding, like, in our community, our Black community, at for that, just understanding that most of my family members are the same, work multiple jobs, 2, 3 jobs, not being able to spend enough time in the households, or, being able to be enough, they're gone 8 to 12, maybe 14 hours a day, to where they're working multiple jobs. They're not really necessarily being able to be there physically, emotionally for the kids. The kids are seeking it elsewhere. So just understanding that as a father, fathers have been going through a tough time, migration time up to 2024. So it's definitely been key with that, and just understanding that having fathers in your life leads to the impact of crime and violence. Because I feel if you got fathers in your life, they're able to guide and give that influence of keeping them from being in the streets, gravitating to gangs, gravitating to these different things in life. So I feel that's very key. And just also understanding that fatherhood is super key to us not having health care, education opportunities. So it leads to us not understanding and being able to guide our community just for off of historical content, going back to even the civil rights movement, things like that. Like I said, with the migration, it's been tough within our community. Far as with that, with migration, normally the father was the one that was working, and the wife or the girlfriend, or however you wanted to put it, was at the home taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, making sure everything was done there, while the father brought all pretty much financially back to the house, supported that, and he was the hard labor. And then understanding that with that, it took a lot, because in our community, how can I say, in our community back then, we weren't fortunate enough to have the high paying jobs. We pretty much was working for the pennies to be able to provide for our family. We was all in one neighborhood, things like that. But it's key to understanding that elevation has happened over time, with that understanding that even when it came to the Great Depression, with the widespread of unemployment, impacted fathers, where it led to them being the breadwinners, and how can I say, breadwinners and people, it led to stress in households. It basically led to the stress in households. It led to fathers remaining, far as no morals or guides, as far as in our community. They weren't able to do or influence anyone, where they really wasn't able to help themselves or their families. So just understanding that, and just understanding that things changed over time. Like, we had wars that happened, things to where the society or the country took Black males from their homes and send them overseas, some basically just killing them off, which was bad in a sense, because now that the fathers are gone to war, there's no way for the woman to necessarily take care of the family or the household like it was supposed to. So that was a different outlook with fatherhood as well. So just understanding that, and just understanding that with that movement, it still was tough. Even going up to about the 60s and the 70s. How can I say? Even going up to the 60s and the 70s, the empowerment, as far as our civil rights, pretty much started into effect, to where welfare and that family structure started coming in. but they also started pushing us to one area to where we still didn't have the necessary resources of things like that. Understanding in that time in the 60s and 70s and a lot of civil rights movement, you seeing a lot of people fighting for our rights, definitely as African Americans, fight for our rights, which it left a lot of single mothers out there as far as within fatherhood. So it left a lot of single mothers out there. But just understanding that in those time changes within our generation and generation of time changes, things has changed over time to even when you get to the late 80s, early 90s, we got mass incarcerations from drugs, whatever that's going on within that in our communities, from the drugs being poured in our communities, people getting taken away for incarceration for years on years, to where now it leads a single mother taking care of a family, or it's multiple single mothers out here, and now they have to really necessarily depend on the system, being put into the system, which is led to that lack knowledge of what a father should be, which a father should be guiding, which I feel that fathers should have been guiding, which they were trying to guide at the best of their resources at those times, which I feel that it's continuously changed. It's always been where the man take care of everything, and now you see in this day and age where women are stepping up and being able to do different things and being able to get great jobs and being able to step it up to it. But it's still at the end of the day, the father has to lead, and the father has to lead that household. And necessarily, I'm not saying it has to be financially, because things have changed over time. You really have to have an influencer out there, and just understanding. I was born in the 90s. Things has changed, and even going into the early 2000s, to where rebuilding. That's what I say in the 2000s be. It's been like a rebuilding stage, to where we got a lot more opportunity now from jobs, being able to get some of the certain resources that we need. But some of these things that's happened over time has continually still happened within year after year and generation after generation. Understanding that fatherhood is still key. It's key in our community. It's very key. And like I said, in these early 2000s, things have changed. I feel that not only has we been able to elevate, but I still feel it's a lack of knowledge as far as fatherhood. I know women try to paint a picture of what a father should do, or how they should act, or how they should take care of their kids, but it's really no perfect picture. I feel as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, influencing your kid, being there emotionally, physically, just being there for them is great. And what I mean far as like physically, just making sure you're present, your physical presence is key. Like it's definitely key. Like having my stepfather in my life was very key. Seeing some of the things, and him waking up every morning, going to work, doing what he's supposed to do, taking care of the household, really not complaining about anything, just coming back, knocking it out. And also showing me what a great marriage should look like. And like I said, it's necessarily not great because everybody goes through things, but also just understanding, seeing that in the household was like a great thing to me. And like I said, some men out here are just misguided. And like I said, I believe like marriage is not for everyone, but sometimes I hate when people speak on that I ain't never getting married. Yeah, marriage may not be for you, which that's cool. But I also understand that marriage, yeah, having that backbone in the family or in your household will be a wife, being able to push you to the next level. But with that being said, fathers, for me, in this day and age, really got to pick it up. I just feel that they need to pick it up. It's been a lot of lackluster, pretty much bullshit that's been going on. Brothers making excuses about, even with co-parenting, making excuses about the co-parenting, making excuses about why they can't take care of their families and things like that. And I do agree that some can't, because they're bitter women out here. There are women out here that necessarily never needed kids, but they fortunate enough they had a kid, and now they're taking it out on the man, which you should be allowing these men to necessarily guide through the issues and the struggles. So with that being said, I just feel that this fatherhood thing is being, like, how can I say, it's been a road for me. Like, fatherhood has been so great for me that it's made me learn new things. It's made me see things at a differently. I'm glad I'm blessed not to have to co-parent. Been with my wife pretty much 15 years now, married 4 going on 5. So it's been a blessing to see the development of my daughter just turned 10. Blessing thing. But like I said, I with the co-parenting, I feel that we need to do better as co-parenting. We need to do better as in if we're going to have kids, understanding what we're doing, because when we bring a kid in this world, we're their ultimate responsibility, not just to 18, but after that, because it's a cruel world out here and you have to be ready to guide these kids along the way. You have to be able to guide these kids. We got to be influences in their life. And I'm speaking to the fathers, speaking to the fathers out there. We got to be able to guide. And I'm speaking to the aspiring fathers. We got to be able to guide these kids along the way. Like we not doing a great job of this. We need to continue to pick it up. We need to get in our communities. We need to be finding ways to improve. We need to be looking in the mirror. How can I improve my situation financially? How can I improve to gain more knowledge to be able to navigate through life and be able to continue to elevate not just my household, but the community, because helping each other build a great foundation as far as fatherhood is key. And I feel holding people accountable. I try to hold all my friends that got kids accountable. And it's very key. It's very key of holding them accountable. And these women, y'all need to start holding some of these guys accountable, and sometimes holding yourself accountable, because you may be the hindrance of him not doing what he's supposed to do, and to elevate, because if he's arguing with you back and forth, that's not cool. I definitely feel that that's not cool. So just making sure that's key, and just being able to, how can I say, talk about it. Like us fathers need to come together more, talk about it. We need to be able to build different relationships, understand it's different types of style of fatherhood out there. Like everybody's not going to necessarily be the same father and have the same, we should all have some of the same qualities. We should all be able to lead. We should be able to take care of our family. We should be able to stand on morals. We should be able to show discipline. And that's just not in ourselves, but also to our kids, showing them that being disciplined, and also just learning is just very key. Learning is very key. We got to continue to stay a student to the game, understanding that fatherhood is pretty much, it changes daily, it changes yearly, and the more, depending on your kid's age, it always changes over time. As far as a father, like us fathers sometimes try to not grow in the situation. We should be growing as well. I've learned over time to look back and reflect, why was my father not in my life, but understanding that, hey, maybe he had something going on that I couldn't necessarily describe. But sometimes for me, I always looked at it like, I'm your responsibility, so you should be here no matter what's going on. And what I mean by that is, a lot of fathers bring on their past of what's happened when they were young and how they were growing up, and they necessarily brought it to the table and did the same thing, but they don't realize that's the same thing that happened to them, bringing on a generational curse of my father went in my life. So necessarily they don't see it that way. Oh, hey, I'm talking to him, or I send a little bit of money, and it's not cool. I feel the only way you're able to break generational curse is to continue to do the things that you necessarily didn't like. I always wanted my father to be to the football games, the basketball games. So I try to make sure I'm doing the best I can, be to my daughter, whatever she got going on, dance, cheerleading, whatever she got going on in her life, I'm trying to be there. I'm trying to make sure she sees me at every event. So one thing I love about my daughter is being able to pick her up from school, being able to take her to school. These are things that necessarily I wanted my father to do, but of course he wasn't there. So that's very key with that. That's just something from my experience that I felt that was very key. Kids need to, kids need to see it. Like kids seeing it daily, they understand it. They understand the love that they have for them. Being able to be a great communicator is, I think, key as well, within having, how can I say, having these key qualities of being a father. You have to be able to take your communication skills and be able to communicate effectively to your kids, being able to communicate effectively to the mother of your kids, no matter if you got one, two, or more than two. You just got to be able to communicate effectively and be adults about it. And I think that's what a lot of the disconnection is at this time and age, definitely in 2024, is a lot of the disconnects between communication or understanding that it took both of you to be able to get a kid, and now you got to share the responsibilities of this. And like I say, I believe a lot of men that's out here is just sleeping with a lot of women and not necessarily taking care of their responsibilities. I see a lot of guys treating it like it's a competition, and then when they finally get hemmed up, now they're blaming it on the woman. Man, we got to do better. We got to do better, because it's a lot of bullshit that's going on, and I don't really like the man just treating it like it's a video game. Like, how many women can I get? How many women can I sleep with? Now you done hemmed up 2, 3 women, messing up their life, messing up their happily life, and now y'all done brought a kid into this world, and now the father's looking at it as like he's got hemmed up. But I also tell women, you have to look at it as in, you got to make sure you're picking and talking to these men and making sure you're picking the right man, because some men are not meant to be a great father in a sense, because that was not how they presented themselves, and showing those qualities that they won't be a great father at that particular time, because it could be a time where, in a time in that person's life where they can be a great father. So just understanding the decision making comes down to a lot. And also, man, understand that picking the right woman is key to, how can I say, it's key to becoming a great father, and it being long term, because some women can hinder your growth within being a father if you can't necessarily be there with your kids. And sometimes it takes being with your kids and learning over time, bumping your head in the road, understanding that you're not a perfectionist of being a father. It's all learn, grow, it's all live and learn, and just understand and trying to break things that happened in your childhood. So that's understanding that with fatherhood with me, I definitely support anyone that's doing what they're supposed to do. Staying key and having principles to themselves. I just feel that's key. We as fathers need to be in these communities being mentors and role models. I try to be a big role model in my community, which I've been doing. I've mentored kids, coach. I do a lot of things within the community. I try to give back. I feel that this is a way for me to give back and speak on things that really matter, which, like I say, men need to get off their ass and stop bullshitting so we can make this a better world. Without the man and guidance, I don't think we'll be where we at. But I do salute to the women, because they're the backbone of a lot of great success. I see a lot of great successful men out here, and they always have a great woman behind. So just understanding that. Far as with me, like I say, I always celebrate fatherhood. Fatherhood is just, it's so great. It's so great. It's so key. I just like to highlight that just having my daughter changed my life. I was fortunate enough to have her right before I was about to graduate college, and it was just a great experience, but it was also shocking not knowing what to expect or what to do as a father. It was just, okay, what's next? But I knew for me, it was like, I'm going to do all the things that I wanted to happen in my life, and I'm going to do it to the max, but I'm also going to take feedback from great men that's already been doing it for a while as well, which I feel is key. Just understanding that and wanting to leave on a legacy. I wanted to leave on a legacy to where my kids is good. Just making sure of that and just moving with a purpose. I think everything I've been doing is moving with a purpose. When I first graduated high school, I was going to go to the service, but then I went to college. I was able to go to college, get a degree. I was able to go back and get another degree. I was able to be blessed, and then I was able to be blessed in working in a field that I was actually studying for. And I had a kind of nice life to be able to, as far as school wise, but I've been wanting to leave a bigger impact within my legacy with kids, as far as with my kid. Just understanding, how can I say, understanding that, fatherhood is key in our urban neighborhoods, and people are taking it lightly. I think just co-parenting, some couples out here are not taking it to the full extent, because we need to be in these kids' life. It's a lot of crime. It's a lot of things going on in the society and these neighborhoods that I feel that can be stopped or touched on if we stay to the course. Women, you cannot harp on what a man should do or what a father should do or what it should look like. A father is the only one that can explain what a father needs to do. I feel that some women give out great points on what a man should do as far as the qualities of how it should be. but I just don't feel that women should be giving out a picture of what a man or what a father is. I feel that a father knows that he's the leader. He's the motivator of the house. He's the one that's able to get everything going. Like, he's the influence there. So I feel, ladies, that you have to show some justice within, how can I say, you got to show some justice within being a mother, taking that step back and guiding. Yeah, and guiding. So yeah, just understanding that. So like I said, I feel that some things that's happened over time within our community with the fatherhood, but I feel that it's key. Like, us fathers need to step up to the plate. We really need to step up to the plate and do different things. We need to do different things in our neighborhood. We need to be able to be role models. We need to be the mentors. We need to be everything that I'm preaching here. I feel that it's key. So definitely, this is key. I'm greatly appreciated. Everybody's been tuning in to this information, because some of this information need to be given out. I feel it'll be great once I get someone up here to definitely speak on fatherhood, which I have someone that definitely can speak on the fatherhood, and we can go back and forth with that. But I definitely want to appreciate everyone that's been tuning in to this great information. Again, check me out for the next episode. Thank you for tuning in with Bossin with Ballard, and I'm out. Peace.